Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today, I thought it would be fun for me to review the very short story called The Brahmin's Wisdom. It was published by Clark Ashton Smith. It was published posthumously. It was found as a handwritten script in his stuff, and he didn't sign his name to it. However, it was published in Untold Tales of Clark Ashton Smith from the Crypt of Cthulhu 27 for you folks. But some authors who are familiar with his work have said that this is not by him. It doesn't read by him. It doesn't have his language. It doesn't have his sort of stuff. And you can feel that it's sort of, in that genre by Clark Ashton Smith. But it doesn't really sort of fit like it. And that's sort of the thing. I read it on eldritchdark.com. I'll link it to you too, and so forth. So one of the comments says this is probably written, is probably an English translation of a German short story by German author Gustav Meyrink. He's the guy who wrote the Golem. That was the early German impressionistic horror silent film is based on, and such. So he's actually pretty common and popular too. Germany's author Gustav Meyrink, and so forth. So I read this yesterday morning. It took me about less than a half an hour, less than 20 minutes, like 15 or 18 minutes for me to read it. It's very short. So basically, the idea happening here is that you're Brahmin, in the case, he's a guy who's living out in the middle of nowhere, and there is a giant statue in the cliffs of this demon, and the local people that keep the Brahmin and such, his slaves, I would say slaves, servants is probably a better phrase, his servants, his staff, if you will, the religious folks that serve the Brahmin, are upset because the demon will scream pretty regularly, and that's sort of a thing that's pretty disconcerting. So they ask him what he can do about it, and he actually tells them that it's not a demon that they're hearing; it's a penitent soul, and that sort of a thing. And they ask him to go and take care of the penitent soul. So he heads out, and that'll be the journey. That's where, and that's the setup, if you will, for a very, very short story. What actually happens, I'll leave to you because it's fast and it's a spoiler for your review too. But that is the Brahmin in the Brahmin's Wisdom for you folks. Alrighty, so there you are. I think the ending's okay. I would say it's the best thing ever. It doesn't feel like a truly strong Clark Ashton Smithian ending. I can see why he liked it enough to write it and to translate it if it is actually by the Golem author. But I don't really feel like it's probably this strong story that stands on its own. But then again, I don't read German, right? So I can't tell you that. But I'd probably give this like 6.5. Right? It's fine. It's a fast read. It won't take that much of your time for me to knock it out. But again, it doesn't read like him. He uses languages and words. It doesn't have this big giant vocabulary because he was a kid. He read it. It doesn't read like a prose poem either, like most of his stuff do to. So, it doesn't read like him too, but it was actually a very, very fast read for that reason. But there you are. There's a translation of the Brahmin's Wisdom for you folks. And it was maybe written by it was originally credited to him, but it's actually by German author Gustav Meyrink for you folks. And the original title has been found and it was published prior to this, and so forth. So I'll link that to you in the comments. Well, it is my 6.5 out of 10 for you folks. Have you read this? And if so, what did you think about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Whatever you think about it, whatever you agree or disagree with mine. And if you are speaking German, there is a German translation too out there. I don't know what the German copyright laws are, so I don't know if it would still be for free online like Americans are, but I think most places are much looser than this one. So this is for free. It's probably for free too, because it was a little bit older. So I'd be very interested to find out what a German language author could read it, and so forth. That's So, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I try to do 3 of these older reviews a week of things like Clark Ashton Smith, who's very, very strong in fantasy, and so forth. He actually published heavily in this era, in the pulp era, and he was the world builder of the 3 big guys for the world tales. Robert E. Howard was the guy who created Conan, and he was a big name for those reasons. It stands the test of time for those creating these big giant characters, and so they would come back to again and again and again. And he was sort of the father of sword and sorcery. And then Lovecraft is still known today. Also, 2 big friends of his, Clark Ashton Smith and Myths, and he's still known today for his Cthulhu Mythos stuff that got them on a map in a major way. He sort of created the genre of Gothic horror. I'm sorry, not Gothic horror, cosmic horror, or rather. Which sort of combines science fiction elements to it too, and then it's very, very strong too. And then Clark Ashton Smith is the world creator of the 3, and so forth. So he writes some things in the Cthulhu Mythos that are more horror. He writes some things in the science fiction genres too, but he's probably more well known today for sci-fi stuff, fantasy stuff, and a lot of things. He was heavily influential a few decades ago on the early parts of Dungeons and Dragons with modules like Castle Amber and that sort of a thing. His things like the 7 Geshes are heavily influential on stuff today. Great stuff. So it's great. He's a pretty good author and a good guy to do a deeper dive into. So if you like these 3 reviews of a week of older things in these genres that I care about, hit the subscribe button to be notified of my videos, and also go back and watch them too. That'd be great. Hit the like button too, and the bell icon too to be notified of my videos that I publish. I publish 7 a week. I also do older video game reviews. I do reviews of, right now I'm doing reviews of adventures on Monday in Dungeons and Dragons. I've also done some BattleTech reviews recently too, and that's in the war games. So I like to do war game or RPG stuff on Monday. Wednesday, the video game. On Friday, I like to do some movie stuff, and then on Saturday, I like to do the serial Saturday, which I dedicate to telling that genre for you folks. So there you are. Thanks again so much for your time. I appreciate it. That's where that passion comes, where the time comes from, right? So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.